Welcome into August, everyone. It is August of 1993. We're starting the morning out here doing our morning chores, getting our cattle fed. We've had a few babies born here in the last couple of months, which is fantastic. Our milk production has dipped, just like it did last year. However, our goat milk is still on the rise. They are still producing more every month. Now, they're not producing a lot, but it is going in the right direction at least. So we're going to go ahead and get these cattle fed. Then we've got milk that we need to get sold. And you can see we're down to $20,000. So I did go ahead and purchase that field from Walter with the alfalfa in it. And I also went ahead and paid off the loan that we took out for our production costs a couple of years ago. Paid it off early, so that loan is no longer active, which is very, very nice. However, we do have another loan. I took out a $51,663 loan, and we purchased another field from Walter. Walter said he's getting old and wanting to slow down a bit, so I threw out a bid on his field that's right next to our big field, and he accepted. So we took out a loan on it, and it is a 10-year loan, so we're going to be paying on it for quite a while, but I believe it is 100% worth it. And we will be harvesting it this year, so it's got soybeans in it, so that's going to, really, really add to the amount of soybeans we have this year, which is absolutely fantastic. But I'm going to go ahead and get this feed wagon parked up here out of the way. And then we got milk that we need to get hauled here. We've got hay, and we've got a whole bunch of alfalfa that we need to get mowed down this month and taken care of. So we've got plenty of work to do here. All right, we've got 168 gallons of goat milk. And we've got 1,071 gallons of cow milk. So we'll get these run into the creamery here and get them sold off. All right, we're down here at the creamery. We'll go ahead and get this goat milk sold off first. All right, we need to take $1,249 off here. All right, now we'll go ahead and sell the cow milk. And we need to take $682 off for the cow milk. All right, so that leaves us at $23,158. That's very, very good. I'm very happy with that. So we'll head back, and we need to get ready to start mowing alfalfa. All right, we got our International 5000 out here. We're going to go ahead and start mowing down our alfalfa. And if we look across the road here, you can see the bean field that we bought. That is a very, very big bean field. It's, well, let's just jump out and take a look. So if we take a look here, you can see it's 40.52 total land acres, and the field is currently 31.55 acres. So we expanded, our operation quite a bit here this year. That's a little over 50 acres that we've expanded. So very, very excited about this. But we won't be able to combine those beans for a couple of months yet, so we need to go ahead and get our alfalfa knocked down here. We'll get this fired up, drop it down. And this is our first cutting in the new alfalfa field. All right, we got this field finished, so we'll head over to our original alfalfa field here and get it mowed down. And I can't wait to see how many bales we actually get off these two fields. It should be quite a few. I'm hoping, somewhere around 80, maybe 90 bales. That would be really good if we could get, that many bales off of this cutting. And we'll have, an early cutting off this field next year. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic as well. But first, we need to get this other field knocked down, and then we can get to tedding both of them. All right, we're over here at the other field. Go ahead and get this fired up, get it dropped down. And I'm still getting used to the steering, as you can see, but we'll get this field knocked out pretty quick. This is definitely going you know, much, much faster than the old mower. So I'm very, very happy about that. And we've already put almost an hour on this thing. All right, got a little cleanup here on the spot that I missed, and we'll be done mowing. So we can go ahead to get this drug back to the home place, get it cleaned up, get it put away for the year, because we will not be mowing anymore this year. And get our tedder out and start tedding and getting all of this dried up to become hay here. Yep, still trying to figure out the steering on this. But, like I said, we'll get this put away, get the tedder out, and see how many bales we end up, you know, making here. All right, we're ready to start baling. So we'll get this thing fired up, we'll get it dropped down, and see how many bales we get out of these two fields. I'm very hopeful that, you know, we get somewhere around 100. That would be, you know, absolutely fantastic here. But we'll get this field hammered out, see how many we get off of it, and then we can move into our second one. All right, we're finishing up the baling here on the first field, and it looks like we're going to end up with 46 bales and a little bit left over in the baler. So that's pretty good. Not quite 50 like I was hoping, but that's all right. We will run to the next field and get started on it. I'm hoping I got enough bale net. If not the end of the world. Just run back to the shop there, pick some more up. But, well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and fill up now. That would be the smart thing to do. That way we don't have to stop halfway through baling. So we're going to throw on some more bale net, and then we'll get to baling in the brand new field here. All right, we're over here at the new field, so we'll get this fired up. We'll drop it down. I'm not going to reset the bale counter. That way I don't have to do math, because math is hard. So we're going to go ahead and get this hammered out and see how many bales we end up with total off both fields. All right, we're coming up on the end here. I'm going to push out one more bale, and that'll make 92 bales total. So we'll have just a little bit extra here, and I am glad I got that other bale net put in before we started, because we would have ran short. So we are done baling. We've got 92 bales we need to get picked up. So we're going to have a lot of bales to sell this winter, which is very, very good, because we do have, you know, a big over $50,000 loan now. So yeah, that's a lot of money. But I think we're sitting really, really good. We're going to have a gigantic harvest later on this year, so I'm quite pleased with where we're at. Now, we're not done baling yet. We will need to bale some corn stalks yet this year. So I'm just going to put the baler away in the shed and go start picking up bales. All right, we got all of our bales picked up. Went ahead and loaded up our manure spreader here, and we're going to fertilize both of our alfalfa fields. I want these at max yield for next spring, so we're going to go ahead and get these fertilized with our manure here. Should have plenty of manure, at least that's my hope. So we'll get these hammered out, and I will catch up to you guys when we are ready for harvest. Welcome into October, everyone. We're starting the morning out like we always do, feeding our cattle. This is our second feed wagon load up to the barn here. And we do need to get one load into the fat cattle lot. And I completely forgot to mention before the end of August there, we did not chop any silage. The year before, we had 80,000 liters left over, and that got us through the entire year. I only took 2 loader buckets out of the bunker silo. So we still had 111,000 liters of silage sitting in our bunker silo. That should be enough to get us through this year. So I'm taking a bit of a gamble by not chopping any silage, but it was such a pain having to pull all the silage out of the bunker in order to put new in. I just didn't want to deal with it. So it's a bit of a gamble, but it should be just fine. Now, we are up to 50 animals in this barn now. Our cattle are doing very, very well. Our herd is expanding very fast. As you can see, this is really, really filling up with cattle out here. I am super happy about that. But we need to go ahead and reload one more time, feed our fat cattle, haul our milk, and then it's on to harvest. And this is going to be a big harvest. We've got 3 soybean fields, 2 small ones, and 1 big one. And then we have our 1 big cornfield that we got to get harvested this year. So this is going to take the majority of this month to get this harvested. But we should be able to make a lot of money, which is a good thing because we have some major equipment upgrades that we need to make because we are outgrowing this farm in a hurry. All right, we're going to get our fat cattle fed here. They're getting close to being ready to be sold. We got a few months to go, but we are getting closer, so that's a good thing. With these guys fed, we need to get 1 bale of hay hauled over to our goats, and everybody will be happy, healthy, and fed. Then we can move on to selling our milk. All right, we're going to get this bale hauled over here to our goats, get them fed, and then we can take the tractor over, get it hooked up to the auger, and get it set in place so it's ready and raring to go. All right, we have 200 gallons of goat milk on and 1,342 gallons of cow milk. So we're going to get these run to the creamery and get them sold off here. And I went ahead and got the auger set up to the bin so it's all ready to go. So we can start harvest as soon as we get back. All right, we're down here at the creamery. Get this goat milk sold off. All right, we need to take $1,695 off. All right, now we can go ahead and sell our cow milk. And we need to pull $1,155 back from it. All right, so we're sitting at $24,131. Very happy with that. So we can head back and get started on harvest here. All right, well, I made a bit of a mistake and added money when I was supposed to take money away. I thought $24,000 was way too much. So we got it fixed. I'm at $19,819. That is the correct amount of money in our bank account that we should have. And I went ahead and brought Grandpa out, and he's going to run the combine, and I'm just going to run the truck because of how much fields, or how many acres we have to cover here, just to try and speed up this process a little bit. That way, we're not spending time while I'm running back and forth unloading with the combine not running. So I will catch up to you guys when we get our first semi-load here, and hopefully we get one and a half off of this field. That would be awesome, but I'm guessing we're probably only going to get 1. All right, we have our first load of beans on the truck, and the field's almost done, but I tell you what, Grandpa better figure it out here, because he's leaving a lot of beans out in the field, and we can't be having that. So if he can't get this figured out, I'm going to have to fire him. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this trailer unloaded and get back up into the field and make Grandpa clean up his absolute disaster before we move on to the next field. All right, we got both of our small fields done. This one did not yield as well as I had really hoped. That's not great. So we don't quite have a full semi-load, and we had, I think it was like 3,000 liters from the first field. So yeah, definitely not good. But we have got the combine, and Grandpa moved over into the big field, the big soybean field, our new one. So we got a lot of beans to go yet. Still have, our big cornfield to go yet. So we've definitely got plenty more to harvest here. All right, we have our first load of soybeans on the truck here. Having a bit of an issue with the combine skipping and missing, but no big deal. We'll just have to go back and get that stuff cleaned up later. But we'll go ahead and get this dumped into the bin, and I believe we're going to have 3, possibly even 4 loads come off this field. So that's pretty good considering soybeans are a pretty low yielding crop, which is why they're typically very valuable in the game. But the game value does not matter, as this is our 1990s series, and we're going off of the off of the price in the 1990s. All right, and we have another load coming off this bean field. This is fantastic. We've got a lot of beans to go yet. Harvest is definitely taking a while. As you can tell, it's, almost noon already, but yeah, this harvest is absolutely fantastic, and there's so many beans out in the field yet. So we're going to go ahead and get this truck unloaded here and continue on with the harvest. All right, we have finally finished our bean harvest. It's 1:30 in the afternoon. That took a very, very long time. But if we run over here to the bin, we can see we've got 165,486 liters of beans in our bin. So that is a huge bean harvest for our farm. By far the biggest, not even close. So we're going to go ahead and get everything switched over and ready to run corn and get into our corn harvest, and hopefully get our corn harvest finished before sunset. If not, no big deal. We can definitely run into the night, and we also have all of next month, so plenty of time to get our corn harvest done. All right, it is almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, and we're finally getting into our cornfield. So we are going to drop straw swath, and I think we're going to do all of the, we're going to do 2 end rows, I guess I should say, 2 passes around the end rows. And we're going to drop a swath on both of them. That will be more than enough corn stalks for us for the year. And we don't need to make, this entire field that it's just going to be a ridiculous amount of bales. And there's really no reason for it. Yes, we could sell them, but that's getting, a little out of hand, to be completely honest. So we're just going to do the 2 end row passes here, and then we will go ahead and turn our spreaders back on and discharge the rest of the trash out the back of the combine. All right, we got our first semi-load here, and we haven't even made it all the way around the field twice, so we're definitely going to have a pretty good yield here in this field, and I'm very happy about that. We're going to have a lot of corn to sell coming up next year, so that's a good thing. We definitely need to make some money, as we are sitting at $18,000, so money is still very tight, but I do believe we are definitely moving in the right direction here. We picked up a lot of land, and yeah, things are looking up for sure. So we'll go ahead and get this emptied off into the bin here and hurry up and catch back up to the combine, because it'll probably be full again by the time we get this emptied and back to the field. All right, just checking in here. We are on our 3rd semi-load, and we're just about done with our short rows. So we'll be moving up to the kind of medium length rows in this field here in another pass or 2. So we're definitely getting a lot of corn off this field, considering we've gotten 3 loads just doing end rows and the short rows here. So I'm hoping, we get another 3.5, maybe 4 semi-loads yet, and that would be, wonderful. That means we're getting big yield off of this field, and that's always exciting. All right, our harvest is officially done. We've got 204,414 liters of corn in our bin. It's almost 5 o'clock. We've still got straw that we need to get baled up here before the end of the night, and all of our equipment needs to be, cleaned up, maintenance, all of that good stuff. So we've got plenty to do yet here this month, but I'm going to do most of that off camera. So I will see you guys in November. We have a very, very busy month in November ahead of us. A lot of plans and a lot of field work to get done. So I will see you guys in November. All right, welcome into November, everyone. We've already got all of our animals fed. Everything's looking good there. We've got our goat milk loaded and our cow milk loaded. We've got 224 gallons of goat milk and 2,008 gallons of cow milk. So we're going to go ahead and get these run into town here, get them sold off at the creamery. And as always, we will adjust price as necessary. All right, we're down here at the creamery, so we'll go ahead and get this goat milk sold off. All right, we need to pull back $1,682. All right, now we'll go ahead and get our cow milk sold. All right, we need to pull back $1,296. All right, so that puts us at $19,886. So we're going to head back to the home place. We've got a lot of field work we need to get done this month, and I haven't checked yet to see if we have any animals that are ready to be sold. I know we should be getting close, but I don't know if we're quite there yet. All right, we got our 4786 hooked up to our slurry spreader here. And we got a lot of slurry to spread, so we're going to start out with our small fields here that will be going to corn. And eventually move into our big field. But first, we're going to get these small ones hammered out. So we'll get this thing fired up. And these little fields won't take very long at all. But it'll be good to get these out of the way. That way we can get them cultivated soon. Alright, we are out of slurry. I got both of the little fields done, but didn't even make 2 headland passes on this big one here. Not a big deal by any means, because we're definitely going to be using anhydrous in the spring. So we'll get the nitrogen down that we need. Just more or less need to get rid of that slurry before, the barn overflows and causes a huge mess. So we're going to go ahead and get the cultivator out, and we need to start doing some cultivating. We've got a lot to do this fall here that I want to get done. That way we don't have to worry about it, or at least worry about so much of it in spring. All right, we got the cultivator hooked up. We're in our new field here. We're going to get this thing all cultivated. And then we can move on to the 2 small fields, and we'll end with the other big field down here in the bottom. All right, well, I went ahead and hired Grandpa to go ahead do the cultivating on our other big field here. So we're going to go ahead and spread some fertilizer out here on our corn stalks, get this prepped and ready for beans, and this way this can be cultivated under. And everything will be very good here in this field. So we'll hammer this out. This won't take very long at all. And hopefully by the time we're done with this, Grandpa will be at least close in the other big field. Close to being finished, I should say. All right, we are finishing up our fertilizer here on the corn stalk ground. And so that's done. Grandpa is, not quite halfway, but, maybe a third of the way done with that field over there. So he's getting there, but it's definitely taking a while, as that is a big field and a small cultivator. So we'll go ahead, get this fertilizer cart cleaned up and returned. Make sure we get the fertilizer emptied out of it. And this is probably going to be about it for the month of November. We don't have any animals to sell, and we don't have any other field work other than cultivating to do. So I will catch up to you guys when we're ready to sell some corn. And I think there's going to be some big changes coming up here this winter to our farm. At least I'm hoping so. I definitely have some big plans and some big hopes, so not sure how it's going to turn out, but hopefully it all works out the way I think it's going to. Hey everyone, welcome into February of 1994. It's been a bit of a crazy winter, to be honest. In November, we went ahead and finished up all of our cultivating. Got all of our fields cultivated. Everything's looking very good there. We got some fields, that definitely need anhydrous yet, but that won't be for a couple months. And we made a lot of big changes on the farm. So we're going through a lot of TMR right now. And I mean a lot. We are definitely going to run out of silage. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and purchase some. I'm not going to deal with running out again like I did early on. So we're just going to bite the bullet, spend the money. And speaking of money, you can see we're at $24,354, which is slightly more than I had back in November. And that's because we are finally at a point where selling milk is actually covering all of our loan payments and turning a small profit, which is wonderful. It's taken us a long time to get here, but we're finally here. So that is awesome. Now, running out of silage is not good. That will definitely kill our milk production, which is why we're not going to let that happen. We are going to buy silage because, we need it, period. So no big deal. But we've made some other drastic changes to the farm as well. I went ahead and sold that Soukup grain bin because it was worthless to us, but a neighbor wanted it, so I sold it to him for $11,000, which is part of why we are up as far as we are for money. But also it is because, we're finally making an actual profit off of our milk. Part of the problem with that making that profit is our milk trailer is now too small. We can't do it in one load. It takes 2 trips into town. So that part, kind of sucks, but that's okay. It's a good problem to have. And I'm going to take the long way around here and we show you what all changes we made here. It's pretty big. So if we come around here, you can see our goat barn is gone. The goats were fun. They're, obviously very adorable animals, but they really weren't making us much money. We were only making a few $100s a month, and it just wasn't working. So I sold off all of our goats and put up 2 more cattle pens in here. Now, one of them is currently still empty, but this one has 10 head of Hereford cows and 1 Hereford bull in it. So we're raising them strictly as slaughter animals. So it'll be a couple of years before we start turning a profit off these guys, but for now, we're just feeding them, and here in about 2 years, we'll be able to start turning a profit off of them and sell them as fat cattle, alongside of our Holstein fat cattle that we're already currently raising and selling, and they'll be ready to go. I believe it's next month. We'll have 4, maybe 5 head that are ready to get sold off. So we'll be making money off of them. Now, I have not sold any of our corn or soybeans either. So we still have all of our corn and soybeans to get sold yet. I haven't sold off any of our hay bales either. So we have plenty of alfalfa hay bales that we need to get sold yet this winter. So we are finally in a really, really good place on the farm. And I am very excited for moving forward here. Now, the catch is going to be not overspending now and putting us right back in the same predicament we were in before. But if we jump off here, you can see we've got 53 head in this barn. And everybody is very, very healthy. Got a bunch of babies out there, bunch of new calves, and everybody is looking wonderful. So it's a little odd that there's no snow on the ground in February, but you know what? I'll take it for now. So this is the only barn we need to get fed this month. I fed all of the other cattle pens last month. So we'll get this done. We'll go ahead and get our milk sold. We will be selling our corn this month, so we've got plenty of work that we need to get done this month. But first things first, we always do the chores, then we sell the milk, and then we can move on to selling our grains. All right, we have 2,111 gallons of milk on. So we'll get this hauled into the creamery, get it sold off, and adjust the price accordingly. All right, we're down here at the creamery, so we'll go ahead and get this milk sold off here. All right, so in 1994, the average price of a gallon of milk was $2.55. So we need to adjust this down a bit. We're $765 too much, so we'll go ahead and get that pulled back. All right, we went ahead and pulled back $765. So in 1994, the average price for a gallon of milk was $2.55. We had 2,111 gallons on, which comes out to be $5,383. So we went ahead and pulled back to $765 to get us to where we need to be. Now we'll head back, load up with the rest of our milk here, and get it hauled in and do the same thing. All right, we have 898 gallons of milk on here for our second load. So we'll get this hauled to the creamery and adjust the prices as needed. All right, we are back down here at the creamery, so we'll go ahead and get this milk sold off here. And we need to pull back $326. All right, so that puts us at $32,028. That's a pretty good month for milk, if I do say so myself. So we will head back and get ready to start hauling corn into town. All right, we have our first load of corn on the trailer here. We'll get this hauled down to the co-op, get it unloaded, and adjust the price as needed. We should have, it's like 7 3/4 loads here, so the last load, won't be a full load, but it'll be close. So we will make a pretty decent profit here. We're selling the corn at $2.72 a bushel, and we're selling it all. All right, we're getting pulled into the co-op here. We'll go ahead and get this semi unloaded and see how much we have to adjust the price down here after this first load. All right, we need to take $13,834 off. All right, and that puts us at $34,067. So we'll go ahead and make this trip 6 more times and get this bin emptied. All right, we are getting pulled in here with our last load. We've got 551 bushels on. So we'll go ahead and get this sold off and then adjust the price down to where it needs to be. All right, we need to pull $10,252 back. All right, and we are at $48,159. That is absolutely fantastic. So we are now done selling grain, and I think we're pretty well done for the month of February here. So we're going to go ahead and call this an episode. So if you like what you're seeing, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.